Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 6 of Mary's Mini with Gustavo. And so we truly are in the middle. We have day 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 5 more days. So we're exactly in the middle of our challenge or experience or program, whatever you want to call it, adventure. And I hope that you are learning about yourself, because this is a learning experience for all of us, and also learning new ways to prepare meals. Let's not even say cook or make recipes, because we're just combining some delicious starches with non-starchy vegetables and spices and making some very simple but delicious meals. So I uh, want to share with you something that I believe is important. If you are a whole food and plant-based follower, and let me just put a parenthesis here, a lot of people that I counsel one-on-one, I've noticed that for some reason, they miss the word whole, W-H-O-L-E. They are plant-based, but they're eating a lot of processed foods that are plant-based, and they're wondering why they're not feeling better or why they're not losing weight. Let's remember that we need to eat whole food as much as possible. So potato instead of potato chips. If you want to eat peanuts, eat peanuts instead of peanut butter. If you want to eat, eat olives instead of olive oil. Eat, again, I don't know, potatoes instead of potato flour. I mean, let's make sure that we understand that we are eating food pretty much as it comes from the wonderful nature in its original form. Yeah, we cut it, sometimes we shred it, and sometimes we chop it and give it some steaming or baking, but it is pretty much whole. Okay, so if you're following a whole food, plant-based diet, it makes sense that you will also have a whole food, plant-based doctor, considering the fact, and I'm not saying anything new, and I'm not talking about negatively about doctors because we need them. You know, if I break a foot or a leg, I'm not going to fix it by eating more potatoes. I'm going to have to go to the emergency room or a hospital and have it fixed. Okay. And if I have, to have an appendicitis surgery, I'm going to need a doctor, and I'm going to be very thankful for their knowledge. They are trained in fixing acute problems. They're not trained on chronic problems. I know I have family. I mean, I have doctors in the family. I know hundreds of doctors. They all tell me the same thing. It's just nutritional information other than a class, probably one class that may be elective, where they learn about the nutritional facts of certain foods. They don't receive any. That doesn't make money. Okay, so don't. It's like if I don't know. Let's say that I am a pianist, and even though I love percussion instruments, I can't not teach percussion, even though a piano is percussion. Just because I'm a musician doesn't mean I can teach all instruments. Or it's like asking an architect to give me advice on how to do the electricity setup of my whole house. Maybe they know some about it, but then I need an electrician. It's like asking a novel writer who write novels to help me write a cookbook. Well, they're both writers, but they're training different things. So it is so important that you can find a whole food plant-based diet. Some, I mean, doctors, some of you live in bigger cities and it's easier to find one. It takes some work, okay, because it's still not something widely, it's not available all the time. But you may still have your own doctor, your regular doctor that you've had for years. But when you need to do a consultation that doesn't really require that you meet in person, you have resources, okay? And so I am going to send to you in my email with the replay ways that you could get a consultation with a whole food plant-based doctor that could save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars and headaches and pains and worries and stress. And it may only take just one session. You all know that I love and attend the True North Health and Medical Center in Santa Rosa, California. Well, they offer online consultations with their physicians. You can do that. I'll send you the information. You can also watch some of, Chef AJ in her channel. She interviews a lot of doctors that are whole food plant-based. If you look in my channel, you will also meet doctors that are whole food plant-based. Get their names, do a little research. Nowadays, it's not that hard to find contact information on the internet. There is a wonderful book called America Goes Vegan, which I featured in my book club, parentheses. In my YouTube channel, you have an invaluable resource there. There is a playlist that is called Book Clubs. I have featured dozens of book clubs, and you can watch them for free. Well, one, I've featured just about every one of Dr. McDougall's books and Dr. Barnard and many others, but I've featured this book, which is wonderful, by Glenn Mercer. And on page 49, he tells you a few ways to find doctors. It says the Plantrician Project and the College of Lifestyle Medicine have trained thousands of doctors to do their jobs correctly by incorporating a science-based understanding of nutrition info into their practice. If you need a doctor, look for one who understands the basics of human health by going to plantrician.org. Don't worry about writing it down. I'll send it to you, okay? It's called plantrician.org. Or the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicines, which is headed by Dr. Neil Barnard. You go to their website, which I will send it to you, and there's a place that says find the doctor. You can find the doctor. There is another place called love.life/telehealth. Okay, and then you can ask me. I know some doctors that I could recommend. So if you really want to, there is no excuse to find a whole food plant-based doctor. I have a doctor here who is not whole food plant-based, unfortunately. He takes care of me when I want to do blood work and I need a prescription, or if I ever get really sick, which thank goodness I almost never do, and I may need an antibiotic or something that needs a prescription, then I go. Otherwise, I don't ask him about whole food plant-based because he is overweight and he eats a meat-based diet. So how am I going to ask him that? He needs to be asking me. Okay, so I wanted to mention that because I think that that is very important. All right, so now let's go to my little picture time. And then we can talk. So I had fun making this slide because I put a little Christmas tree there. I mean, this is just symbolic. Please don't get mad at me. I know some of you don't celebrate Christmas, and it's just I don't know, it's just fun. Some of other people get mad because some people celebrate Halloween, and let's just not get mad about those things. Let's focus on what's really important. Let's regain our health and lose weight if needed. So this is day 6, okay? And we're doing Mary's Mini in December. So one of you sent me this wonderful picture, and it says skillet potatoes and onions with cabbage, salad, and homemade salsa. You can make homemade salsa in a minute or less. It's in my website. I'm not in my website. Well, I think it's in my website, but it's in my YouTube channel. And it is Chef AJ's recipe. You can make it, and that salsa will have only those vegetables. It won't have salt. It won't have any other dextrose, some kind of thing. I don't know, the name that we can't pronounce, or they won't have oil. All right, so you can do that. And then here's another one that's called jacket potatoes on a bed of steamed kale with onion, mushroom, pepper gravy, no oil, no sugar, no flour, light salt. And that actually looks so mouth-watering to me. I love peppers. Oh, yes. And I make this fajita mixture that has red pepper, yellow pepper, red pepper, tons of onion, and if you like mushrooms, it is to die for. Okay, then one of you sent me breakfast. I think it was Julie. Breakfast and lunch for another hiking day. I guess today you're going hiking. So brown onions and the garlic, then make room for potatoes. Brown already steamed potatoes. Brown other cooked vegetables. I guess you're calling it more like saute, okay? But they get brown. Combine the mixture, okay, like we see there. Add greens, add a touch of water to deglaze pan and wilt greens. Anoint with some balsamic vinegar. Remember that Dr. Esselstyn says that you can make your greens even more potent to create even more nitric oxide for your arteries by adding a little bit of balsamic vinegar. You don't have to empty half a bottle, just a tiny bit of vinegar. That the vinegar seems to really make the greens, well, like I said, more potent. Okay, and yesterday I showed you this slide, which I love because potatoes are tubers that contain everything that a human being pretty much needs to survive. In the case that we ever had a world catastrophe and you could grow potatoes and sweet potatoes, you'll make it, okay? Unless, of course, unless there's some atomic bomb or some other thing. But you'll make it with these. And you'll make it with potatoes, which is, to me, the superfood of all superfoods. Look at that. A potato has, it doesn't even have a 1 gram of fat. It has 0.1 grams of fat. It has quite a good amount of fiber. And it has carbohydrates, but these are complex carbohydrates. They're not they're complex and they're not processed. So it's pure energy for you. It has vitamin C, it has calcium, potassium, phosphorus, iron, niacin, thiamine. I mean, and probably more than that, because there are micronutrients which are not listed here, and there are others that scientists think that they haven't even discovered yet. And this is a beautiful symphony of not only flavor, but beautiful symphony of vitamins, minerals, and micronutrients that keep us alive. And remember, tell yourself, let's learn to tell ourselves when we see something that tempts us and we know that it's killing us, it is not my food. Just like you see a dress that you don't like, or it's not your color or your size or your style, and you say, no, that's not me, that's not for me. It's not my food. This is not for us. This is worse, even not for us. These are poisons. Anything that is dairy is pure poison. And remember, I think this is at the cover of our new book, Shada and mine. One meal at a time, one bite at a time. That's how we can navigate and stay on this for forever. Some of you have already asked me, several have asked me about the 7-day program. I'll tell you a little bit more about it later. This is not, I didn't plan the Mary's Mini as a way to promote my program, but I do want to say just a few words. I started this one time, doing this one time, and it was so awesome, and people asked me to do it again and again and again and again, and then for over a year, I've been doing this every other month, and I was doubtful to continue, but I will continue in 2024. It's called Gustavo's Detox Reset, because we reset our taste buds, we reboot, and 7-day program. It's just 7 days, and it's starting again in January. And this is what we do. We have daily meetings like we're having now, but instead of one time a day, it's twice a day. One time for breakfast and one time for dinner. Those are the crucial times. I used to do a lunch time, but it may be a little bit too intense and too much. And lunch is usually easy. Most people don't have problem with lunch, and we talk about lunch. But dinner seems to be an issue because a lot of people want to eat late, the cravings at night, and so we're going to focus on that. Then we have a really powerful group support with like-minded people. And we focus on simple meals, just like here. And there are no recipes, really. These are meals that I teach you how to put together. And there's more variety because it's not Mary's Mini. I will include some concepts of Mary Mini, but I want you to have a repertoire for you to continue forever if you decide to do this forever. We try also something fun, which is an all potato or an all sweet potato day. We also try a day with, you can choose all fruit or all non-starchy vegetables so that you can feel what it feels like to deplete your glycogen storages. And then we go into a very mini fast, okay, that anybody can do. There's no danger here. Anyone can do this. It happens during the night while you're sleeping. There are a couple of things that I teach you what to do so that you will start burning more fat instead of muscle and detoxify deeper. And then most importantly, we really have fun in this program. So that started in January. And if you're interested, send me an email. Next week, it will be up on my website. It's going to start on January 15th through the 21st. And there are replays. A lot of people never watch the live because they can't. They only watch the replays. And many of you are there for every single live meeting. Okay, so let's go into questions, comments. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm going to read these comments here, and while I read it, if you want to unmute, go ahead and unmute. So everybody's doing fine, combining your starches with non-starchy vegetables, maybe using a little bit of fruit if you absolutely need it, maybe using a little bit of beans if you need it. The beans are allowed.
Gustavo.
Yes.
Yes, I just have a question for you and the group. I've been whole food plant-based for a year, And my biggest issue is I won't say crave salt, but I need salt on everything, or I feel I need salt on everything. I've tried everything that's, been mentioned, the Benson's, the Tasty, Table Tasty, Salacious from local spicery, lime, so I just have a hard time getting that taste on my tongue, the taste of salt. Are there any
Okay.
other
All
any
right.
other things out there that may give me the taste of salt?
That is a really good question. You know why? Because salt, it's according to all these years that I've been around people and doctors and dietitians, it seems to be one of the hardest things to give up. It's actually a mineral that the body needs. Um, Sugar is not that hard to give up, and oil is not, but salt is one of the hardest things. So that's not unusual. If you have something like Benson's Table Tasty, I don't know if you have that particular one. To me, that was the more surprising one because I had used others, but that one, when I used it the first time, I thought, well, wait a minute, I have to look at the label again because it tasted salty. So one thing is to try something like that and to perhaps put more. So if it doesn't taste salty enough, go ahead and put more. What is a fact is that the taste buds do readjust. Sometimes for some of us, it takes 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks to readjust. So we have to be patient. But something like celery, for example, is something that is naturally salty. The other thing is what I said the other day regarding exercise. Perhaps instead of saying that I'm going to cut off salt now, today, and forever, 100%, maybe too much of a bar that is set too high. Why don't you take into account how much salt you think you're using a day. And if you think that you're using, a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons, start by saying, well, tomorrow I'm going to use, if it's 2 teaspoons, I'm going to use 1.5 teaspoons, and you actually measure it and you put it on things that are absolutely necessary that you think that if I don't put it there, I'm not going to eat it. And you try that for a couple of days, and then later you, instead of 1.5 spoons, 1.5 teaspoons, you put 1.25 teaspoons, but you gradually cut it, and it may actually work. This is on a case by case. It doesn't work for some people. Some people have to be all or nothing. But that perhaps could work on you. The other thing is to actually have your do a blood test and have your sodium level tested, because I know personally people who naturally have low sodium, and that is very dangerous. Actually, is life-threatening. You want to find out if that's the case. It's rare, but it happens. So in that case, those people are advised to add salt to the food. The other thing that you can add that has iodine is some powder seaweeds that they sell. And I don't have it now. I have to walk over there to the kitchen, but I'll bring it next time and I'll show you that. Those things tend to taste salty. Those are my only. Anybody else that has any ideas, you're welcome to share, okay, and type or unmute.
Gustavo, I have a suggestion. I use balsamic vinegars, and once I used balsamic vinegars, I did not miss the salt at all. It's been a game changer for me. And they have savory and sweet, of course, so you can have savory on savory dishes and sweet on sweet dishes. And it's really helped me. I haven't had salt since.
Okay, okay. Well, I have to tell you now that you mentioned that last year, after considering it for a long time and just not doing it, I don't know why. I started buying the California balsamic vinegars, and I have to say what you said. They are so flavorful, and there are so many different flavors that it really helps. So that's thank you. That's another way to go around it. Okay, thanks. Remember that if you're in another country, when I do these 7-day reset programs, maybe the breakfast will be in a weird time or the dinner, but one of those will be in your time zone, and then you also get the replays. Okay, so the question of organic. The question of organic is a good question. The truth of the matter is that thousands and thousands of people who have started and switched to a whole food plant-based diet have thrived in their health and in their weight loss. And many of them, including myself, which I didn't know much about that at the beginning, and I just went to, I don't know, to any regular old store and just bought vegetables and fruits, and none of them were organic. The results are amazing too. So I believe that the topic of organic is important as we improve during our journey and learn more. But I find it that sometimes it's a roadblock for beginners, because on top of asking them to give up a lot of things that they think they can't live without, and asking them to learn how to make some meals, and there's a curving, there's a time there, Caroline, to learn new things. And if on top of that you're saying now you have to buy organic, it may be too much. So is it better to buy organic? Of course it is better. I do sometimes buy certain things, organic things that have leaves, or things like strawberries that can really absorb chemicals, things like that. Otherwise, I just don't. And I've been enjoying so much now that I have a big yard. Now I plant a lot of things, and I so truly eat organic. But yes, organic is important, but don't worry about it. I mean, if the difference is going to be that you're going to eat non-organic potatoes or a hamburger, of course it's going to be better to eat any kind of potato. How do you feel about canned mushrooms versus fresh? Anything that is canned, I'm a little nervous because of two things: because of the sodium added, and because of any of the heavy metals or chemicals that can be released in the can. As you know, or maybe you don't know, beans, for example, are not cooked in some kind of pot and then put in the can. Beans are cooked inside the can at 400 degrees, which kills a lot of the nutrition. But besides that, maybe more important, what happens to the lining of the can at that temperature? So when you buy beans, remember that you're buying beans that have been cooked inside the can. So I do try to avoid canned things. But sometimes I buy canned pineapple or something. But nowadays it's just so easy to cook a whole batch of beans and a whole batch of rice, and just put them in little bags, put them in the freezer. They last forever. And so I don't buy cans unless I'm traveling and I'm in a pinch and I cannot find anything else, and then I buy it, and I make sure that it's salt free. And if for some reason it's not salt free, then I wash them like 10 times to get as much as possible of the sodium. Okay. Okay. Yeah. for those of us who don't use salt or use minimal amounts of salt, I use a lot. I use a lot of seasonings. If you could see my cover, I have hundreds of little bottles, okay? And I didn't go to the store and bought them all at once. Every now and then, whenever I go and find something, you know, I buy. But yeah, it's important to use a good variety. But for some of you, it's not important. You're happy with just garlic powder and onion powder and, you know, oregano, and that's perfectly fine too. Okay, here's another salt alternative made with vegetables. I want you to put the link. Okay, thank you. I'm going to save that link. Curry balsamic is one of my favorite. It's to put on potatoes or on anything, on salad. I love curry balsamic, and I love curry. I put a little bit of curry on rice. I put curry on my sauteed greens. It gives it a really nice flavor. Okay, no, fresh mushrooms are not dirty, and if they usually, I buy them in this little trays. They are clean. I'm going to cook them anyway, but if you're not, you go ahead and rinse them. But remember that that mushrooms is the only well, I know I'm not saying this right, because I know that a mushroom is not a vegetable, it is a fungi. But anyway, it's the only plant that makes vitamin D. So if you're not outside in the sun to make vitamin D, and remember that you only need 10-15 minutes. You don't need to lay in the sun for an hour and get, you know, cancer, skin cancer, you know, just 10-15 minutes, especially in big areas of your body. That's how you make vitamin D. But also, I eat a lot of mushrooms because first, I like them, and second is because they contain vitamin D. Remember that I have a Facebook group, actually a Facebook page that is called Dr. Starch, and you spell it all out, Dr. and then Starch, and you can like the page, and I post things there. Okay, I use wet paper towels and knock off the soil. Okay. All right, very good. Anything else? Good. I mean, good. Wonderful comments and questions. Thank you. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to have a little challenge because I have a gathering of friends, really dear friends of mine, and it's for dinner, and none of them are plant-based. They all know that I am, and when they come home, they know that there's not going to be any meat here. And when we have a party or a potluck, I'm the one who takes it. And of course, they all eat what I make, and they don't leave a crumb. But I'm going to have that tomorrow, and I'm going to have to think what I'm going to take so that I can my food. So. All right. Well, I'll see you, and be looking for the replay. I'm going to send you those links for doctors and maybe for a little extra video. And I'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, if you have any questions, send me an email. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining me.